some of the reasons why. First and foremost, we have negativity over past results. What are we talking about here? Well, quite often, as I've alluded to, we set goals, we set plans, we decide that we're going to, I don't know, go to the gym twice a week or 3 times a week, or we decide that we're going to wash the van every Friday when work finishes and clear out the back of it to make sure that it's all nice and tidy and so on and so forth. We set all of these goals and then we don't follow through on them. Sorry, I haven't sipped my tea here. So we don't follow through on them, and what we do is we build up then a bank, if you like, of information in our own head that says, well, I never followed through anyway. And we're not doing this consciously. This is happening subconsciously. So it's like the person who says, you know, and I'm taking a typical one now, the person who says, I'm going to give up drinking for the new year. I'm going to cut out the booze for the whole of the new year. And then they get into day 1 or day 2 of the new year and they decide, well, one won't harm me. One won't do me any harm. I did that last year and, you know, what's the point anyway? And you build up this whole idea that, well, I never followed through on my goals anyway. So therefore, why would I want to carry on and follow through now? So you make a wishy-washy goal and then you know, because you say to yourself, I'm not going to do it anyway, you break it. So if you're aware of that, then potentially what you can do is tell yourself, well, look, instead of saying, I always break it, therefore I'm going to break this one, tell yourself, I always break it, so now I'm going to be firm with myself. So when you get that little niggly thing that says, oh, you know, it's wet outside, I'm not going to clean out the van, or it's frosty outside, I'm not going to go for that bike ride, or you know, whatever it is for you, whatever that thing is for you, instead of going, well, I always fail, go, I always fail, but this time I ain't going to. This time I'm not going to let it happen. So watch out for negativity over your past results. The other thing, another one is not changing your behaviors or habits. Now, I'm trying to remember who it was that said it. I think Einstein keeps getting credited for it, and I'm not sure it was him. But, you know, if you keep doing the same things, you keep getting the same results. I know it was also adopted by Peter Drucker, and I think also Henry Ford had a version of it as well. You know, I think the Einstein version was madness was the what was it? Definition of madness was doing the same thing and expecting to get different results. But it's a truism that if you don't change your habits, you can't change the results that you're going to get. So let me give you a very personal example of that. When I stopped drinking, which is well over sort of, I think it must be on more than 20 years now. But when I stopped drinking, one of my habits at the time was frequently attending or going into public houses. I would finish work and it was a daily routine that when I finished work, I would go into a pub and that's where I would meet my friends. That's where we would have conversations. That's where we would talk about work and so on and so forth. All of that was part of my drinking culture, if you like. But when I decided that it was time for me to stop drinking, when I realized that I needed to wrap that up, I knew that my environment had to change. I had to change the habit. There's no point in going into, because I had tried it, trust me, you know, there's no point in going into a pub. If you go to a pub every day at 4 o'clock, you know, when work was finished or whatever, and you go to the pub and you say, right, I'm stopped drinking. I'm not going to drink, but I'm still going to go to the pub because that's where my mates are, but I'll have a soda water and lime. Well, how long is it going to be before you say, well, soda water and lime's not good enough, I'm going to have a beer? Because you haven't changed your environment, you haven't changed your habits. The habit is still there. It makes it very easy to follow through. And that's a very basic example, but you know, the very same type of thing can be true for any goal that you set yourself or any habit that you want to change. When you set the goal and you change the habit, then change the environment, change the behavior, change what you've typically been doing up to that point. You know, if your goal is to go to the gym for an hour every day after work, then don't go home and sit on the sofa. If what you've been doing up to this point is going home and sitting on the sofa, and say to yourself, well, I'm going to go home, sit on the sofa, and then I'll get up and I'll go to the. Don't do that. break the habit, find a new way to do it, deal with it by having a different behavior. Either drive straight to the gym or drive home and have a shower or whatever the case is, but don't do the things that you previously did. If your new habit or your new goal is to make sure that you clean out your van every Friday, guys, I'm taking just basic stuff here. Some of you will have bigger goals than these. But if the job is, if the idea, the goal is to go back and clean the van out every Friday and make sure that it's stacked up properly and everything's in its right place, and your old habit was to park the van up, go in, have a cup of tea, relax, so on and so forth, then break that habit, change that behavior. Go and do the van straight away. Pull the van in, open the back doors, and start raking things out, whatever the case is. But change the habit and change the behavior, and that will then help you to achieve what the goal is. The next one we've spoken about a number of times, a number of times, and that is write out your goal. And I do mean physically, with a pen and a piece of paper, write out your goal. There is some merit in typing it out. There is some merit in writing up a document, as in online, not online, but typing it out into a Word document. There's some merit in that. But there is scientific evidence that if you actually physically write out, and it's something to do with the connection between the committing it to paper and the brain and so on and so forth. I'm not even going to pretend to understand all of that, but the bottom line is there has been scientific experiments carried out where they have measured and watched people over a period of time who have committed their goals to writing, and the ones who have written their goals out got a better result than the ones who just thought about their goals. So make sure that you actually commit your goals in writing. Find, if you have a journal or a notebook. I've always had a notebook. While I was out in the tools, even today, I always have one that I keep by me. You should potentially do the same. Great place for writing down ideas, great place for writing down things that you may forget when you're not near your phone or your tablet or your PC. Great place for writing down your goals, your aspirations, and keep it close to you. So no matter what technology you're using, you should always, I believe, have a hardbound notebook near or with you as well. So write your goals down, because people who don't write their goals down are less likely to achieve their goals than people who actually commit their goals to writing. What is it that makes you to take action in the first place? So it's all very well saying, right, I've got a goal in mind. I know what I want to do. I know I have to take action on that goal. But what is it that makes you take action? And the only reason that we take action is, well, there's two reasons. One is for fear of something. So that's an away from. We move away from the bad and towards the good because we are afraid of something. And the other is towards something. Okay? And we move towards something when it's something that we want or something that we desire or something that we feel will make us will make us feel better, make us be better. And that literally comes down to motivation. Okay? Now, you may be an away from person or you may be a towards person. And different personalities, different people are different ways. But you need to understand what your motivation is. As I say, an away from person operates out of fear. So you move away from the idea that I'm going to keep with the drinking theme, but let's say the fear there may be that if I carry on drinking, I could potentially lose work. Let's say, okay. So if I'm drinking, I'm not making money. If I'm drinking, I could lose work. So that's a fear. That's a good reason to move away from drinking. So some people will move away from because of the fear, but some people will move towards. So what somebody else may look at is, well, actually, if I stop drinking, I'm going to be healthier. That's a towards. I'm going to be a healthier person. I'm going to have a much more time on my hands. So they're moving towards something rather than away from something. And you've got to work out which one are you? Are you an away from or are you a towards person? And the way that you do that is to ask yourself questions. So what I want you to do, With that goal in your mind now, with that goal in your mind, I want to know, why do you want this goal? Why do you want this goal? Don't want to know what everybody else thinks. Don't want to know what the industry decides. Don't want to. I want to know why you want this goal. Why do you want it? Type that in now. I want to stop smoking because I want to be able to run around with my kids when they're 16, 17. Okay. I want to make sure that the back of my van is tidy every week because it means that my life will feel more organized. It means that I'll be able to find things. I want to build that office in the garden because. Why? Why do you want that? What is it? Why do you want the goal that you've set? So we've set, this is the goal. Why do you want it? Not why did other people tell you want it, not what's going on in the industry, not why everybody else, and not wishy-washy. Oh, I want to be fit. You know, why? Why do you want to be fit? What is it? You know, I want a better lung capacity because. I want stronger legs because. What is it? Why do you want this? So why do you want this goal? Why do you want this goal? Okay. Next question, and it is different, although it sounds similar. So you've got to think hard, guys. What does it give you? What does it give you? If you were to achieve this goal, what does it give you? Okay, so we've got, why do you want it? Now I want to know, what does it give you? So you should have your goal typed in. Why do you want this goal? And what does it give you? And so we've got the goal. We've got, what does that give you? We've got, why do you want that? Then we've got the result. What does that give you? And why do you want that? Okay. If you achieve this, how will it make you feel? When you achieve this, how will you feel about it? And it's important to understand that feeling, because your brain again, we're going scientific here. I didn't create this. There was experiments done, but your brain connects with the feeling much more than it will simply to the words, I want to. Yeah. You know, if I want to stop drinking and I understand why I want to and what the results I'm going to get from it, but then understanding how that's going to make me feel, it anchors in that goal, and it anchors in, because your brain wants that feeling. Now that you've created that feeling, you've thought about that feeling, your brain will want that feeling. Does that make sense? Again, you know, I didn't create this, and it's not woo-woo. It's been scientifically proven that when you start to imagine feelings, your brain can't tell between the real thing and the one that you imagine. But if you start looking at how that's going to make you feel, and you start considering how it's going to make you feel, what the emotion is, what the feelings are around that, then you're more likely to start achieving those things. If you achieve this, how will it make you feel? When you achieve this, how will you feel about it? And it's important to understand that feeling, because your brain again, we're going scientific here. I didn't create this. There was experiments done, but your brain connects with the feeling much more than it will simply to the words, I want to. Yeah. You know, if I want to stop drinking and I understand why I want to and what the results I'm going to get from it, but then understanding how that's going to make me feel, it anchors in that goal, and it anchors in, because your brain wants that feeling. Now that you've created that feeling, you've thought about that feeling, your brain will want that feeling. Does that make sense? Again, you know, I didn't create this, and it's not woo-woo. It's been scientifically proven that when you start to imagine feelings, your brain can't tell between the real thing and the one that you imagine. But if you start looking at how that's going to make you feel, and you start considering how it's going to make you feel, what the emotion is, what the feelings are around that, then you're more likely to start achieving those things. So cool. And James said if he achieves all that, he will feel on top of the world, certainly happier and less stressed than he is now. Excellent. Okay, guys. That is the process that we go through, and it's drilling down and drilling down, and actually it goes a little bit deeper than that in the document. But the idea is to drill down from setting yourself a goal to understanding why you actually want that goal, what it's going to give you, and then understanding the feeling associated with that. And if the feeling is right, you're more likely to stick to the goal and you're more likely to achieve the goal. And if the feeling isn't right, then the goal isn't for you. You don't try and shoehorn in a goal that is not going to make you feel good. It's not going to work for you. Okay?